Welcome everyone to the Toastmasters International Day of Celebration. We will begin in about 3 minutes. Welcome to the Day of Celebration webinar, honoring Toastmasters leaders on the organization's 97th anniversary. We will begin in 1 minute.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Day of Celebration webinar hosted on our organization's 97th anniversary. We are absolutely delighted to have you join us today. My name is Margaret Page, and I am your Toastmasters International President for the 21-22 year. Thank you for being here and celebrating with us. A few housekeeping things before we get started. For the majority of the webinar, we'll be engaged in a lively discussion between the members of our leadership panel. As we all learn and share inspiring stories, you, the audience, may think of a question you'd like to ask. Please submit your questions using the Q&A panel, and towards the end of the session, we'll introduce as many of those questions into the conversation that we can. But with so many attendees, however, we may not be able to answer all questions, but we're going to do our best to address as many as possible. Thank you for your patience and understanding. And while you may not be able to speak out loud, we certainly encourage you to continue to use the chat feature to speak with one another throughout the webinar. Feel free to share any stories of what you learned over the last 18 months and how you are celebrating those successes today. Thank you in advance for always remembering to be respectful and courteous to your fellow attendees. Also, please keep in mind that our behind the scenes team is focused on answering your questions posed in the Q&A pane, not in chat. So the questions that you want to send to the panelists, put in the Q&A pane. This webinar is being recorded and you'll receive an email in a few days with the link of the recording. When I was elected second vice president, I never envisioned that my year as president, that we would be in a global pandemic, or it would drastically alter the way we conducted our Toastmasters meetings, our conferences, our convention, our contests. But the coronavirus has made life harder for us, but it has also forced us to adapt and build new skills. It has also illuminated the hard work conducted by so many around the world. On our organization's 97th anniversary, we wanted to spend some time to acknowledge the learnings and celebrate those efforts and share praise to all those who work so hard to ensure Toastmasters around the globe would continue to learn and grow. With me today are three leaders from around the world. Let's meet them now. Our first panelist is Distinguished Toastmaster Cindy Latch. Cindy is a past region advisor who served from 2019 to 2021, so 2 terms. Cindy was called to our great organization because of her desire to find a group of like-minded, lifelong learners. After joining Toastmasters in 2009, she went on to help start a club at her workplace, the Harley-Davidson Motor Company. Cindy has filled all 3 district trio positions and every club officer role except treasurer, but she knows there's still time to get that done as well. Our next panelist is Nulissa Lundy Major. For more than 3 decades, Nulissa has devoted herself to guiding and educating the youth in her native Bahamas. Her role as junior administrator for the Central Abaco Primary School allows her to transform lives and help young people reach their potential. In addition to her role as Vice President of Education in her home club, Nulissa is an active member in a club in my home country of Canada. In fact, she is the area governor to my advanced club in Vancouver. Our third panelist today is Kailea Pele Thai-Allen. Over the last 3.5 decades, he has worked as a sales executive, marketing manager, finance manager, assistant general manager, and his current role is chief financial officer. Thai-Allen helped charter 8 clubs while serving on the trio. And while serving on the trio, Thai-Allen had a hat trick. That was success each and every year. The first year, they were President's Distinguished. We didn't have the category Smedley Distinguished that year. The second year, District 116 also achieved Smedley's Distinguished that year. And last year, Thai-Allen led D116 to Smedley's Distinguished status. Quite an accomplishment. Welcome to the panelists. Let's begin. I'd like to first start out by asking you, during the last 18 months in your role as a leader in Toastmasters, what did you learn? Who would like to answer that?
I can take my first. I learned a lesson I think life has been trying to teach me all along, and that's ask for help. You're not in this alone. There are people there that want to support you, and very often it's just you need to reach out. So for me, my learning was there's a big support network for me, and I just needed to ask for the help. And it's been such a positive reinforcing experience for me.
Excellent. Thank you.
Totally agree with you, Cindy. I learned that as a leader, you have to be committed to whatever you're doing. Because here in our club, after a lot of things has happened, the commitment levels seem to have fallen, and we have to encourage a lot. We have to encourage and learn to stay positive through all. We have to learn to stay positive, and I learned that we have to embrace whatever situation we find ourselves in and rise above it. So we continue to do that as a leader in our area.
Outstanding. Thank you. Hi, Alan.
Yes, yes. For me, fun thing, first thing is the Toastmasters online meetings help the members to do business online, and that really help them personally and professionally also. That is the first thing I would say. Second one is I really wondered what kind of resources is available with Toastmasters International. And we are just a phone call or an email away to get the complete resources for our users. The third one, what is the power of voice the district has with World Headquarters? Because whatever we have challenges, whatever is there, we had all the freedom to write to World Headquarters, and that questions are answered well in time, and with the too much of consideration they are giving to the questions what we are asking it. And finally, how to come up with the alternative strategies for the better performance. That is another learning what I had. Thank you.
Well, we certainly want to hear a little bit more about that as well. You know, what we learned at the board level as well is that we needed to reach out and take care of each other, and don't just make the assumption that everyone was fine, but reach out and ask those deep questions. How are you doing? How can we support you? And so no doubt that last year you all were very successful. So how did you reach out and celebrate that success? Your whatever group you led, how did you celebrate success there? And how did you celebrate member success? Who would like to answer that?
For our club here in the Bahamas, to would have reached President Distinguished was such a great accomplishment for us. Being a small club, a club that was actually in the rebuilding stage, to would have reached President Distinguished with a total celebration. What we did as a group, and it was hybrid and virtual, we took a day off and we went and we had this lovely dinner party just to celebrate our accomplishment of becoming President Distinguished, because we worked so hard at getting there. We celebrate every member, we give out certificates, and we just celebrated each other. And during our clubs, the meetings and everything, we celebrate everything in our meetings. I decided that, okay, we're on this virtual platform, we have to make the best of this. So what are we gonna do to make the best of this platform? Just celebrate everything that's happening. I actually got to know more about every member in the club. So we celebrate their birthdays, anniversaries. If their child graduated from college, we celebrated their job promotions. We just began to celebrate everything about that person that is a part of our club. And that really made them felt more at home, and it made them come to meetings more, as a matter of fact. And that's how we was able to reach President Distinguished, by everyone participating. And they know that at the end of the day, well, Ms. May just gonna do something to celebrate us. She's gonna send a bottle of wine or send a gift certificate. We just continue to celebrate each other and the lives of each other. That's what we did in our club.
It sounds delightful, absolutely delightful. Cindy?
I'm going to take it to my corporate club. So I'm in a community club, but I'm also in a corporate club. And Margaret, you mentioned I work at Harley-Davidson Motor Company, and I love our club name. It's called Rumble Don't Mumble Toastmasters. And when we're now working at home, the world changed and we're all working at home. And it's very easy to get heads down and to do the work and move from meeting to meeting and project to project. But I have to say, on certain days and at certain times, I look up and say, it's time for Rumble Don't Mumble. And I log in, and we are still in this format because we're all working from home. And I always remind myself, where else can I go in life? But people applaud me, people support me, people say, that was interesting, or good feedback. And so in a workday, I can truly get my head down. But looking up and looking at Toastmasters is that oasis of being positive. And I always laugh and say, if nothing else, there'll be applause and I'll be refreshed. So really, I've looked for those opportunities, as you, Nulesa, to celebrate. And even celebrating those tiny things reaps incredible rewards.
I would agree, Cindy. Sometimes we don't, on our day-to-day lives, we forget about our strengths. And so that's one of the magical qualities of
Yes.
Toastmasters, is continually celebrating what you do well. And here's something else. The next
Absolutely.
step. Yeah, thanks. Dialan?
Yes, one small correction I want to say here. When I was the first trio as a CGD, that year we did not have the Smedley distinguished status in the beginning, but halfway through 2018-19, Smedley distinct was announced, and District 116 was the first ever district to achieve that Smedley distinguished status. That I'm very proud to say that here. And after that, next 2 years also we achieved. In our districts, we believe that there is no upper limit for celebration. So when it comes to the members of clubs, any opportunity to celebrate shall not be missed. That is what we always take it. And in our district, we have congratulatory flyers distributed in the WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and any other mode of social media. We are doing that. And group or personal mails to members and leaders for their achievement, we are doing it. Apart from that, every year, beginning of the year, districts and divisions, we distribute a lot of awards, different category of awards to the members, clubs and leaders, and they all work towards achieving those awards. When they achieve those awards, we always honor them with their respective trophies, medals, whatever it is. That is how we always celebrate the success.
Outstanding. Thank you. Yeah, we always need to recognize progress, don't we? How we've improved. That's part of our human nature, is to want to acknowledge that growth. So I'm going to ask, how has your approach to celebrating others changed during the pandemic, or has it? Who would like to take that one on?
I'll take a first. Go ahead, Nulesa.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. I apologize for the interrupting, but realizing that COVID-19 took a mental on everyone, including myself, we have decided that, look here, we are a part of this organization. We want to make sure it's successful, whether we're in COVID or any other situation. What are we going to do to make this successful? What are we going to make this year successful? So in our executive meeting, we decided to, look here, let's just keep it positive. Let's laugh a lot. Let's share experiences. We actually took one meeting and we just spoke of being shut in, you know, the mere fact that you're in your house, you cannot go outside. At one point, you just couldn't go out your own house. We took one meeting and we just spoke about that. And in what we did different was show up. You know, everyone tried to show up for every meeting. And when you show up, that shows that you actually are committed to this cause. You're actually committed to the core values of Toastmasters. And so showing up for us was a big deal here in the island of Abaco, Bahamas, where I live. Because if you know anything about this island, which I will touch on later, showing up was a big deal. Just turning on and your internet actually worked was a big deal. So what we did different, we showed up and make sure that we completed the task at hand, which was get your pathway started, get your goals in, and so on. We just kept showing up and making sure that we celebrate whatever we did. You finished level 1, yay, good, great to you. Like Cindy said, clap, 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 clap. Whatever we do, didn't hear, we celebrated. And
Thank
the
you.
difference was you're on the platform. You're on a virtual platform, you're not face to face. So make the best of it.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Cindy?
And Nulesa, just to kind of dovetail off of that, I think being in the room is half of it, right? Just being present is half of what we do, being here and being available. The other thing that I continue to learn is not everyone wants to be recognized like I do. Some people really love the pins and the swag. Other people love a private, that really meant a lot to me. And I think when we as leaders can really, whether that's a club officer, area director, division director, all the trio roles, region advisors on any level, when we really get to know people so well that we understand how they want to be recognized, that's vitally important. Because if you tell someone in a public way, hey, that was really great, and that might make them uncomfortable, that gives them not the feeling you were. So I think customizing how we seek that praise and celebration is vitally important, and understanding that we're all different and each of us has a different way of wanting to give and wanting to receive that feedback and praise.
That was very insightful. Thank you so much for that, Cindy. A great point for leaders around the globe is understanding those that you serve and how you can best meet their needs and acknowledge their successes. So thank you for that, Cindy. Thialan,
Yes.
do you have something? Yes.
Yes,
thank
correct.
you.
See, this pandemic actually changed the way we celebrate the members. And actually, it is when we have an in-person appreciation that has a lot of more weightage, advantage to the person. So just imagine, now when we are giving a standing ovation for a person for his celebration achievement, or a keynote speaker or somebody is delivering a presentation, after that we all give a standing ovation, the emotion that carries there, no? Even we can see the tears in the person who is receiving that standing ovation. Or in another case, I can say somebody achieved something, we go there personally, shake hand, one hand you shake and another hand you put a pat on the back. That means a lot. But due to this online environment, we missed those opportunities. Now everything is on the online, even certificates are issued online, appreciation, even sometimes we waving the hands. So different ways we are doing it. Back to you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. And as many of you know, I've been asking people around the world to, after every club meeting, to give 2 compliments to people that were in that meeting on something new, and then to share a note of gratitude. Again, because we don't have that pat on the back that we did when we were meeting in person and those things you spoke about, Thialan, but we can certainly find new ways, forge new paths, and become pioneers in doing things in this virtual hybrid environment. My next question is that we've all seen stories of resilience from Toastmasters around the world, but I'd like to know, what does resilience mean to you and what does it look like? Please share any of your stories of resilience so that shown by others in your district as well, not just you, but if you've noticed resilience of others in your district. And Nulesa, I know you have a story to share here.
Okay, and thank you. I just wanted to go back a little bit and just mention with Carla Sale about celebrating persons on Facebook and everything. That's very important. And you can actually use those emoji things. People love them when you're celebrating and you press the emoji stuff that you have on the virtual link. That's excellent. For me, resilience is about strength, recovery, and all of those words. But here in Abaco in the Bahamas, my resilience came a year and a half before the pandemic, because I am a Hurricane Dorian survivor. For us in the Abaco Club, we don't know resilience until you are caught in a situation as dire as Hurricane Dorian, and you realize that you have to climb through this. You have to get over this. You have to actually recover from it. When the storm hit, a day before the storm here in Abaco, we actually went to either school where we always have our Toastmaster meeting. We decorated the room in preparation for our meeting. And we said, boy, we can't wait for the first meeting to come in here and have our little hors d'oeuvres and everything. And then the storm hit September 1, 2019. So for me, resilience began long before the pandemic. It began in 2019 because I had to now live with everything being destroyed from Toastmasters, everything being destroyed from my home. And I had to come back and said, okay, we have to get this club going. So the vice president at that time, we got together and we said, now, how are we going to reach these members? Because, you know, if you know anything but the disaster here in Bahamas, many lives were lost on the island where I live right now. So we were trying to figure out how we're going to reach the members and see if they're okay. We started making frantic little phone calls once we got the system of being displaced and moved into Nassau. And then the District 47 began to reach out to us. So we got the club up and running again, up and running. 2020, March 13th to be exact, COVID, first case in the Bahamas, shut down. You could imagine, now you have to pull teeth for, okay, here you are, you're trying to organize this club off the island of Abaco, you're living in Nassau, and here you are now, COVID, shut down, back in Abaco, the island is just trying to rebuild and get it together. You're living off a generator, the internet comes and go, and here you are now. You have to go into this virtual platform. Being a teacher, as would have announced earlier, I was already on the virtual platform. So I said to the vice president of education at the time, I said, now listen, we're going to take this platform into Toastmasters. And that is how we began. We just pulled from each other. One beautiful Saturday evening, we started our first meeting. And I want you to know, President Page, that meeting was like a celebration for us. There were tears, there were laughter. And we just took the whole meeting and laugh and cry because we were so happy to see each other on the virtual platform, face to face, knowing that, like, yo, we made it through the storm from September 2019, and it's now March 2020, and we're gonna make it through this pandemic no matter what, because we are gonna lean on the strength of each other, and we're gonna build and try to accomplish our goals together, because we couldn't do anything by ourselves. Each member, we have 21 members in our club, and each of us decided that we're gonna stay positive, do teamwork, and do our best to keep it together here in Abaco. So for me, resilience is leaning on our members and using their strengths and a total strength of all of us to working together to make this happen. We are still working at this here in Abaco. We still have internet issues. I told my daughter today, please have the phone standby in the event this internet drops so I can hook up to your phone. We still have issues, but guess what? We're working it out. And I am just so proud of the members in the BE2 Abaco Trailblazers because we are resilient. We are a strong group. And in Abaco, we say we are Abaco strong because we are a resilient nation. I just love the fact that we can actually lean on each other. If you only know how touching it was, that first meeting we had after the storm, it was a celebration. It was a celebration for us. And that's what resilience means to me, just hanging out and making it happen, sticking together with each other.
Wow, what a remarkable story, and not just to be pushed down by the pandemic, but the hurricane as well. Definitely poster children for resilience, absolutely. And what an amazing community you have built there in your Toastmasters Club to lean on each other so heavily. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Yeah, amazing. Cindy, did you have a story of resilience as well? It's hard to go after that, right?
I know. I was like, oh, but I will tell you about resilience. Resilience to me is, as you said, Nilessa, it's grit, it's getting back up, and you literally were getting back up. So resilience is also, I always think of a lighthouse when I think of resilience, and I think of our golden past international president Lark, and her speaking of living in a lighthouse. And so resilience to me is, if you look at what a lighthouse is, it's a sturdy building built on a coast. We have a lot where I live here in the state of Wisconsin, and the beacon shines out. And the beacon shines out in the daytime, in the nighttime. If no one's there, the beacon is available. And what I really always picture when I think of resilience is that lighthouse, because if you're in the darkness, if you're lost, if you need support, if you're looking for guidance or just emotional support, Nalessa, I mean, my heart was just so moved by your story. If you're looking for someone to reach out, I challenge each of us, be a lighthouse, because you never know who is out. You never know who needs you. You never know if you need help until you live in a lighthouse. So as we look at being resilient, having grit, having that positivity and support, I really envision myself in a lighthouse, and I want to reach out and be available, because I know there are people in my life that, and I didn't even know they were there until I needed the lighthouse. And I was in the dark, and suddenly all the beacons came through. So as you look at how you support your Toastmasters, how you support your members' experience, how you support each other, your family, your life, I really challenge you to look at, be a lighthouse, shine your light, because people will need you.
Thank you for that, Cindy. Beautiful, beautifully stated and shared. Ellen, do you have a story of resilience?
Yes. I think District 116, we have a real story of resilience. And I would say it is all mindset, creation of mindset. And first, for the audience understanding, we District 116, all our clubs are in the state of Qatar. Here, more than 95-98% of the members are all expatriates. We all came here to work. So when the pandemic struck in March 2020, especially for the period from March to say July, August, we had a terrible time. Most of our members, some of our members, including myself, lost their jobs. And some people, they had to leave the country. And our situation was very terrific. And we had a very, very bad situation in our April 2020 renewals. We were in for a shock. Last year, we were world #1. This time, we were just going down. We couldn't figure out. Then immediately that our district director, that time Distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan, he called for an immediate meeting with the trio, myself as a PQD and Mansoor as a CGD. And we invited our immediate past district director at that time, DTM Rajesh Sundaresan. We had a meeting and really we understood, yes, things have changed. Now we have to come out with a different plan to work out. That time what we decided was we have to immediately take the members engaged and give a faith in them that yes, Toastmasters can thrive during this COVID and they can come back. That is the message we wanted to do that. So that time, I would say one of our very senior leaders, Distinguished Toastmaster, our past region advisor, Sani Verghese, he's the man actually planted that seed of being #1 district in the world. No, he's the one. He was also always behind us, motivating us, encouraging us, guys, do that, do that. Then we have one of our past international director, DTM George Thomas. He's always giving the tips, guidance. No? With all those things, we were able to come out with the different ideas. One such idea was, we came out with a series called Leadership Lectures. You won't believe, we brought in 7 past international presidents to come and talk to our audience on Zoom environment. They came, they inspired our members. Then slowly the faith in Toastmasters and conferences started building up. We were able to grow the membership renewals. Then immediately after that, we came up with another series called Communication Coaching. That is meant for world champions of public speaking. We brought in several world champions to speak to our members because it was COVID. Everybody was sitting at home. Some of them were lost job, frustration, sitting at home, seeing each other. No, we said this is the time for us to engage them. We engaged them and we brought the situation back. We brought the faith and confidence in them. Yes, Toastmasters is something they have to keep on continuing. So that happened. Slowly we regained, and at the end, we again became Smedley Distinguished last year. Means what I'm telling you, 2019-20, and retained the world #1 again. But last year, when I took over as a district director, that time we understood this situation is going to be the same. We are going to have online at least for the minimum 7-8 months. So we had to come out with a completely new strategy to come out of this situation. That is to engage, enrich, and empower our members. We realized that we spoke to all our leaders and everyone stood with us. And then we passed on that details to our members. And when our members, by heart, they were with us, nothing is impossible. So we were able to achieve success after success. And finally, not only that, we again achieved Smedley Distinguished District, world #1 for the 3rd time in a row. And that too, with 93% of our clubs having more than 20 members. We salute to all members and leaders of our district. And of course, to the international Toastmasters, whoever came to our rescue and support us. Back to you, ma'am.
Wow. Yeah, Cindy was clapping earlier for you, and all of us applaud how rapidly you were able to turn it around, come up with new strategies. In fact, we're pioneers on this online, how to manage, how to be successful, pioneering, creating new paths, which is really what my next question is about. And thank you for beginning the conversation on that. So much has changed about the way our clubs meet. What opportunities has the shift to online and hybrid clubs opened up, and how have you seen members take advantage of that? Cindy, would you like to go first this time?
Absolutely. This for a lot is that change. We've all kind of touched on change, and change is something that I believe people say we don't like change, but I tend to differ, because we change our hair cut, we might change our hair color, we move, we build. So I think we like change. I say people like change, but they resist being changed. And so when the world offers us change, when, to your point, Kai Ellen, the world change in your employment, you are changed. And that's hard for people. A lot of people find that challenging. And what I have looked at, and I've seen it in the members in my community and in my corporate club, is you shift gears, you change, you decide, we used to do it this way. I just don't want to replicate it in this box. I want to enrich it. I want to enhance it. How do we do that? And as we've looked at managing change, I also like to think of the people that join Toastmasters now, think this is the norm. This is their experience. It's us, and I'm pointing out me specifically, it's us olders that think, oh, this is hard, this is a challenge. Whereas everyone who's joining now is like, this is an awesome Toastmaster experience. They are bringing their experience to it, and they're having the experience. So I think the clubs, the officers I've seen, they've had a very can-do attitude. I can try that. I'll do that. I'll be VP PR. I've never done that before. So I think it's revealed in us the ability to step up and lean in. And I always ask myself the question, what's the worst thing that could happen? I'll need to ask someone for help. I'll need to find a lighthouse. So I feel this has been a very challenging. I came off of, in February, my father was very ill. I was on healthcare advocate leave with him. I came back from that on the day that we were told, you're working at home now. So my universe completely changed. I didn't have a transition period. But I think we underestimate our members. I know I've underestimated myself to go, I can do this. I can step up, I can lean in. And I think people are much more willing to take a chance. What's the worst thing that could happen? Someone will help you.
Mm. And you already shared that you learned that. You learned how to ask for help when you needed that. So
I
bravo.
did.
I loved your phrasing about don't duplicate. I didn't want to duplicate. I wanted to enrich it. Always setting that higher standard of what can we do better? What can we improve there? So brilliant to you. And I do believe, yes, that sometimes we are a little resistant to change, but it's progress, right? What we're really looking for is progress in some way. Yeah. Thayalen, do you have something to share?
Yeah, actually, for me, what I felt was it has become a borderless Toastmasters experience, I would say. That is the first thing. And our members were able to experience the knowledge and experience from the leaders and the experts over the globe, sitting at their own residence. That is the advantage we got after this online meeting. And another great advantage what we had in District 116 is our past region advisor, District Toastmaster Vicky Ferrer, chartered 2 online Toastmasters clubs with a global membership. Majority of them are members from different countries, but these 2 clubs were based in District 116. And 1 club is entirely for ladies only. So this is the great thing. And these 2 clubs added some very resourceful people for our district also. They actually help our members also grow and educate themselves. That is a very good thing happen. And another advantage is able to attend more meetings sitting at home. Even you won't believe, sometime I used to hop from one meeting to another meeting, sitting at home. So same day you have some area contest. So they wanted the district director to be there. So I have to shift my time to ensure that I'm attending both of them. But it's a great experience, I would say. And more than that, as I mentioned earlier, the Toastmasters online meetings help the members to master the art of online meeting. That really help all our members improve in their personal as well as professional life. Thank you, madam.
Yeah, thank you for that. I had the opportunity to visit 23 districts last year that I would never have had the opportunity to, but because of the virtual space, and that we're here today celebrating, having our day of celebration on our 97th anniversary, we probably wouldn't have been able to experience this or even consider this except for what has unfolded in the last 18 months. And I love what you shared about the new clubs, because we have seen some amazing specialty clubs being built. Toastmasters and Pets, parliamentary procedure, improv, comedy, lawyers. We have just seen some amazing opportunities that are now opened up. The doors have opened up for us. Thank you for that. Nulesa, do you have something else to share about members taking advantage of hybrid or online?
Yes, well, just like Khalil and Cindy, change was absolutely awesome for us here at the Abaco Trailblazers Club, because we got a moment to travel all over the world. And like Khalil said, I would have never imagined in 100 years to be sitting in a meeting in Africa. Come on, I would never see that place. Sitting in a meeting in Canada, sitting in a meeting in Kuwait, sitting in a meeting in Jamaica or parts of the Bahamas that I even never visit, although I live here. It was an excellent experience. You see, COVID came like a bad friend you don't want at a party. And they came there and they brought gifts with it. And the gifts were being able to travel through this virtual platform, being able to meet persons, being able to be mentored by persons like Mimi in District 96 or Garcia in District 47. All of these persons assisted with my development as a Toastmaster. Visiting the other clubs allowed us, and we always go as a group, we never go one-one. Visiting the other clubs allowed us to find new ways to make it happen in our club. So I really enjoyed this experience, this whole virtual experience. And we were able to adapt to all of the changes through our experiences of traveling from here, there, and everywhere, hopping all over the 9 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever time, we hopped from here and there, and we learned as we hopped.
Yes, that's been an amazing opportunity to meet people all over the world that we would have not had the opportunity to otherwise. So it's been great. Nalissa, you've sort of answered this question already, but I'd like to maybe beyond your club and our other two panelists as well. How have you seen club officers adapt and respond to the changes and challenges that they've faced?
The officers, because I'm very persistent, and I approach you in a very positive way and encourage you so much, the officers were able to adapt to this virtual platform, because our thing is, we are going to do this. Just do it. That's what we keep telling each other. Come on, guys, you know you can do it. Just do it. So if you wake up and think that today is going to be a bad day for you, you can open up your WhatsApp page and you'll see a little message from me. You can do it. And what I did as a leader in our club, I actually assisted our new members by sending them the roles ahead of time and giving them little bits on, you can make this happen. You can do this, girl. You can be the chair. Watch, this is how you do it. So for me, the officers were able to adapt because we decided, listen here, this is COVID. This is the virtual platform. This is where we find ourselves now. Let's just do it, make it happen. And that's what we did.
Nice. We all need people that believe in us, right? That believe we can do this and accomplish this. Yeah. Kyellen, how about you? How did you see club officers adapt and respond to the changes?
Yeah, actually, see, club officers for this year, means when I say 2020-21, that time also, they all took the responsibility knowing the situation. So they were, by choosing the officer position, they know, yes, what is in store for them to achieve. But they had a tough time in motivating the members. Sometimes the problem is when the COVID started prolonging and when the online meetings started coming, some quarter of people, they started losing the interest in online meetings. They started not attending the meetings or not actively participating in the meetings. So these issues, each clubs, they faced it. Okay. So because of that, some challenges are there, but every now and then they come up with some new ideas to counter that, and they do things, and they bring some keynote speakers from outside, those kind of things. But I would say each club officers, they did their best to ensure that their clubs are achieving their best. And whenever they had any challenges, immediately they shout out, they go to area directors, division directors, or to that matter to the district. And I would proudly say my program quality director, DTM Mansoor, and club director Rajesh VC, both of them, and with the division and area directors, ensured each and every club is served to the best. And because of all of their dedication and hard work, I'm proud to say that this last year, 92 clubs out of 100 clubs, including the new clubs, achieved distinguished status. That means 109.52% of growth in distinguished status. Hats off and salute to all my club leaders and members. Great achievement. That is that they never failed me.
It is a great achievement, absolutely. Thank you for that sharing, and how those club officers continued to support their members and also help them build skills that makes a difference in the world and all we do. I'm going to let Cindy just finish off this quickly, and we're going to go to the questions. John Lurquin from World Headquarters is going to lead us in the questions. But Cindy, can you respond to about how did you see club officers adapt?
Absolutely. Club officers that I watched through these time periods, I felt more willing to go, I don't know what you're asking me, but I have faith in you and you have faith in me. So I'll do it. And that's an experience I had very early in my Toastmaster life. Someone said a paraphrase of, I see something in you. And because I had deep, deep trust in them, I took the step. And so what I'm seeing in Rumble, in Oak Creek, my home club as well, people are willing to take that step because they know you have a support network. They know, hey, we've done this before. We're here for you. I always like to say, Riot, relax. It's only Toastmasters. We're here for you. So there's no one that's doing anything by themselves here. So the club officers were willing to take that step, maybe take that leap when maybe normally they might say no, but they're willing to jump in and they're willing to be part of the process because they know the support network exists for them.
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy. All right, John, let's hear what our attendees have to ask the panelists.
Wonderful. Thank you, International President Page and panelists, for such an engaging conversation. The chat and the Q&A have been nonstop since the beginning of the webinar. My name is John Lurquin. I'm the Marketing and Communications Director at World Headquarters. Let's get started with the first question. The first question is for all of you. This is a question from Luzina in the audience. Luzina asks, what is the biggest lesson you have learned in your years in Toastmasters? Throughout the last 45 minutes, you all gave a lot of advice. You shared many of your experiences. But the question is about what is the biggest lesson you have learned in your time at Toastmasters? Why don't we begin with Cindy?
Thank you, John. My mind was spinning. This is table topics on steroids. What is the biggest lesson I've learned is that I'm not in this alone. That you join a club as someone seeking, most often speaking, enrichment experiences. But what I found later was there's something beyond a club. And I joke that you need to pop up every once in a while like a prairie dog, and you need to look around and say, what is this? And there's areas and divisions and district and past leaders and region advisors. I think one of the most profound lessons I've learned as a Toastmaster and as a human being is people are here for you, trust them, and ask for help and support. Because if you don't, you probably won't get it. So Toastmasters to me has really enriched my experience in the workplace as a person, because I've learned to become vulnerable and to say, I need help. Could someone support me? And so I think learning to be vulnerable was one of my biggest lessons to learn, John.
Thank you, Cindy. Hylan, what about you?
Yeah, see, one of the biggest lessons I would say that leadership in Toastmasters is a commitment. When we take leadership, it is a commitment which we have to stand by, and we cannot give excuses, whatever it is, to go away with that. So we take leadership, and whatever situation we stand with that. And I always say, whenever I take leadership, I have a fear that members chose me to lead them, and it is my humble responsibility. I do my best to them, because I always want to finish my term as a leader, leaving something in return for them. They should feel, yes, this leader has done something for me. I don't want to leave a term and feel that, okay, this guy was a lousy leader. I don't want to get into that. So for me, leadership is a commitment, and we have to serve with the fear of our members. Back to you.
Thank you. Melissa, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in your time at Toastmasters?
The biggest lesson I've learned all of my years of Toastmasters is that teamwork is very important. Teamwork keeps it all together. So you have to work as a team in order to make it happen. And you have to stay positive through it all, and always try to rise above any situation. So teamwork is big for me, and staying positive is very important. And like I say in our club, we like to bring a lot of fun and laughter, because that really is good for the soul. We have to keep it going, make every moment fun, make every moment count, introduce things that will keep it going. That's my lesson.
Absolutely. Fun and laughter. I'm seeing a lot of that in the webinar today, seeing a lot of that among the panelists, and certainly in the chat and the Q&A. Finally, our international president.
Thank you for that question, John. What I've learned over time is that we as leaders, we have these big buckets or big things that we have to accomplish, which is about the vision, the strategy, the oversight, innovation, all those things, decision making. And then there's also the small things that we have to take care of, the one-on-one, those connections with individuals, speaking one-on-one, sharing, understanding people's hopes and dreams. And sometimes in leadership, we focus so much on the big things and we forget about all those one-on-one that are critical to our success. And in Toastmasters, it's all about the relationships, but I have used that in my business life and my work life as well. The lessons I learned in Toastmasters about relationships. Relationships are key to any leader's success. Thank you for that, John.
Margaret, the next question is for you. It's from Lynette. We've actually received several questions from our audience about the pins that you're wearing today.
Oh.
You're wearing two pins. One has a globe. What is the other one? And also, what do Toastmasters pins mean to you?
Yeah, they speak to what I am committed to. They speak to the meaning to me of our organization, our 97 years of history. Those that came before us made it possible for us to grow and learn. And my responsibility to ensure that I continue to build and grow on that so that others have a place to grow and learn. But this pin is my Smedley pin. When you contribute a certain amount of funds to the Smedley pin, you get a pin. And I'm working on my next level pin, but this is a pin, and I'm sure there are others out there. If you have a Smedley pin as well, please put that in the chat. Thanks for asking that question, Annette.
The pins are a lot of fun. I get most excited about the convention pins. It might be fun for the audience members to use the chat and enter what is the oldest convention pin that you personally have, and we can all take a look at that. The next question is for Cindy. The question from Jennifer. She says, my club is a corporate club. And with the workforce being impacted by COVID-19, what advice do you have to keep current employees and to also encourage new employees to join and become members of the club?
Powerful question, John. And it for me, Toastmasters has become a way of life. So I was, for many years before Harley-Davidson started the club, what they called the Toastmaster lady. So I would walk around and talk about, oh, that could be a Toastmaster. We could do that with Toastmasters. What I was doing was planting the seeds, and the seeds took a while to grow, but with attention, they grew. So we have a very committed group of members at Rumble Don't Mumble. And we have other members that come in and go. So the first thing we looked at was, instead of meeting on the same day of the month, let's do this day and we do it in the afternoon, and let's do a different day at lunch. So you hit people at different times. So we started to be flexible in how we were presenting it. We use Teams at work. So we have Teams meetings. We have a constant chatter running in Teams. And it was so heartwarming. This morning, the president of Rumble, Elisa, posted in our Teams chat, hey, everybody, Cindy's about to go on this event. And it was just so heartwarming, because they're still chatting from a meeting we had last week, and we're supporting each other. So I look at, reach out to your leadership. We reached out to our HR organization and said, when someone comes in, virtually or not, please present this information. Then we watch and say, hey, who's the new person? I work in IT. Let's reach out to them. Let's make an offer. So I believe people cannot often find us. We need to go find them. But if you have a fun, productive meeting and people walk away feeling fulfilled, that's advertising in itself. So keep reaching out and keep being positive and having productive and fun meetings.
Thank you. Cindy, can you share your club name one more time?
Absolutely. I work at Harley-Davidson Motor Company, home of those big motorcycles. And our club is called Rumble Don't Mumble Toastmasters. And we love to have visitors. So if anybody would like to rumble with us, let us know.
Love that. Thank you. The next question is for Nulissa. Fairly similar. The question from this audience member. They say, I have members in my club who have become less engaged, especially over this past year with everything going on. What can I do? What can I do to engage these members, especially during this time and everything that we're dealing with?
Well, what you can do when your members become less engaged is private message them. That's what I do on WhatsApp page. I private message them and I give them a personal positive word, or actually you have to try and find out why they became less engaged. Because if you don't know why they became less engaged, then you wouldn't understand how to help them. So a lot of people are going through things. I know one of my member, when he became less engaged, he lives in Guyana. When he became less engaged, he was going through something with his wife. But we would have been going through that together, because I would have called. I said, I wouldn't call his name. I said, I haven't seen you to meeting in a while. And he said, my wife is going through a cancer treatment. So I took a break and I said, oh my God. So every morning I would send him a prayer, or I would just send him some kind of uplifting message to say, look here, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about your wife. And when his wife passed, what we did as a club, we actually closed the meeting for that week. For that week, when we were supposed to have a meeting every Tuesday, we didn't have a meeting in recognition of his wife passing. So what I do is get personal with my members, and if your club is like that, get personal with them, find out what is going on in their daily lives. A lot of us are going through stuff we don't mention at all. I'm telling you, there's a lot going on. And since this virtual platform, I have found out so much more about each. I can tell you something about every member in the club, because I took the time to make sure I got to know them. I know their kids, I know their personal history, I know their goals. I just got to know those things. And that really helped with getting them more engaged, because they say, wow, this lady actually care. And then I told the executive board, I say, you guys have to start doing this. Reach out to the members. And I know the president that is sitting now, she does the same. My vice president of education, she's doing it. So all of us began reaching out to each other and doing this like big brother, big sister program going on, where we check on each other, check on those persons. A lot of people are going through stuff that you would never know, and if you don't reach out to them. So my thing is reach out.
Thank you, Nulissa. Thank you so much. Getting messages from my team at World Headquarters, we're out of time. This went so quick. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, International President Page. I'll pass it back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. And thank you, audience members, for your wonderful questions. Thanks. Thank you, Cindy, Nulissa, and Thayalen, for spending this time with us today. We certainly appreciate your wisdom, inspiration, and advice to us all. Members of the audience, if you enjoyed today's session, please read the article in the Toastmaster magazine and learn how you can share your celebrations. We'll be sending the recording link of today's session to everyone who registered very soon. And please share with fellow Toastmasters and leaders who may benefit from what we discussed today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking this time to reflect on what you had learned in the last 18 months. Thank you for taking the time to celebrate. I look forward to hearing more about how you are celebrating. Be proud. There is so much to be proud of. And I look forward to helping build back stronger with you this program year. Bye for now.